very urgent. Your soulmate says, "Please hear me out one last time." What they reveal may surprise you. My beloved child, don't skip, stay till the end, because something huge is waiting, because your soulmate has been holding back one truth they can no longer ignore. They have replayed your connection in their mind more times than you could imagine, and now one sentence keeps rising inside them: "Please hear me out one last time." But don't assume this is simply about missing you. Something much deeper has changed. They finally understand something about you that they failed to recognize before. Don't skip, because the revelation coming next could completely change the meaning of their silence. Something unexpected happened while they were trying to move forward. Instead of forgetting you, they started noticing your absence more clearly. Certain memories returned. Certain conversations suddenly carried a different meaning. And the biggest surprise was realizing that what they felt with you was not as easy to replace as they once believed. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Your soulmate is beginning to understand that you were not just another chapter in their life, you became the person who quietly changed how they understand connection itself. And there is one specific thing about you they still remember with unbelievable clarity. Now comes the part they have been afraid to admit even to themselves. If they could stand in front of you right now, they would not ask you to erase the past. They would simply say, "Hear what I could never say before." Because their silence was hiding a realization. They understood your value most clearly when they could no longer experience your presence the same way. Don't skip. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. There is still one truth they desperately want you to know, something connected to the exact moment they realized their feelings had never truly disappeared. And what happened in that moment may be the most surprising part of their entire confession. Something has shifted inside your soulmate, and this is where their confession becomes impossible to ignore. Don't skip, because they have finally understood why thoughts of you kept returning even when they tried to focus on everything else. It wasn't simply nostalgia. It was the realization that you made them feel understood in a way they rarely experienced. They remember the little things now, the moments that once seemed ordinary, the conversations they never appreciated enough, and the feeling of being seen without having to explain every part of themselves. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. There is one memory in particular that keeps returning, and every time it does, the same thought appears. How did I not understand what this meant when I had it? But the most surprising revelation is still ahead. Your soulmate has begun questioning whether the distance between you was actually the moment that forced them to recognize the depth of this connection. They thought time would make everything quieter, yet certain feelings became clearer instead. Don't skip. What they want to tell you now is something they could never admit before: I was more affected by you than I ever showed. They hid behind silence because speaking honestly would have meant admitting how deeply you mattered. And now they realize that what frightened them was not the connection itself, it was how real it felt. Something huge is waiting for you, because their next realization changes everything. They no longer see you as someone they can simply forget and replace. In their mind, you became the comparison they never intended to make. And now comes the sentence they have been carrying quietly. If I could return to one moment with you, I would say what I was too afraid to say then. Stay till the end, because this is not where their confession ends. They have realized that there was a specific turning point, a moment when they suddenly understood that losing closeness with you had changed something inside them. Don't skip, because what happened after that realization surprised even them. They started seeing your connection differently, remembering details they thought were gone, and imagining the conversation they never had with you. But there is still one thing they haven't revealed, the exact truth they would tell you if they knew they had only one final chance to speak. And that truth is far bigger than, "I miss you." What your soulmate wants to reveal now is the part they kept hidden even from themselves. Don't skip, because this is where everything begins to connect. There was a moment when they suddenly realized that moving forward did not automatically mean leaving every feeling behind. They could stay busy, smile, continue with ordinary life, and still feel that something important remained unfinished. And then one unexpected thought hit them: what if I misunderstood what we had? That question changed everything. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. They started replaying moments differently. Not searching for what went wrong, but finally noticing what was real. Your patience. Your presence. The way certain conversations stayed with them long after they ended. And suddenly, memories they once treated as small began feeling incredibly significant. Here is where their confession becomes even more surprising. Don't skip. Your soulmate realized that the hardest thing to forget was not a particular conversation or moment, it was the version of themselves they experienced around you. Somehow, your presence brought out feelings they rarely allowed themselves to show. They could feel understood, challenged, noticed, and emotionally awake at the same time. That is why your absence felt different. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you, because they have finally admitted something they resisted for a long time. They were hoping the connection would become easier to forget, but instead, time made its meaning clearer. And now they keep wondering whether you felt that same invisible shift too. Whether there were moments when you suddenly remembered them without expecting to. Whether somewhere inside you, one unanswered question remained. But there is another truth, and this one changes the entire message. They are no longer imagining what they would say just to make themselves feel better. They are imagining what they would say if they had only one opportunity to be completely sincere with you. Don't skip, because the words they keep returning to are simple but powerful. I wish I had understood you when you were still trying to understand me. That realization has stayed with them. They know they cannot rewrite what already happened, but they can finally recognize what it meant. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. There is one final layer they still haven't faced, the reason they held back when their feelings were strongest. And once that reason comes to the surface, you may finally understand why their actions and their true feelings seem to tell two completely different stories. Now the hidden reason is finally coming to the surface, and it may be nothing like you expected. Don't skip, because your soulmate's deepest struggle was never simply about whether they cared, it was about what those feelings demanded from them emotionally. The connection made them notice parts of themselves they had avoided for a long time. Around you, pretending became harder. Their emotions became clearer, their questions became louder, and suddenly they could no longer hide behind the idea that this was something ordinary. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. They began to understand that the reason they pulled back may have been the exact reason they could never completely forget you. What they felt was deeper than what they knew how to express. Then came the realization they never expected. Don't skip. Your soulmate started remembering not only the beautiful moments, but the moments when you deserved more clarity from them. And that changed the way they looked at everything. They began wondering what would have happened if they had spoken sooner, listened more carefully, or simply admitted what was happening inside their heart. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you, because one thought keeps returning stronger than all the others. Maybe I understood this connection too late. But there is something even more surprising. They are no longer focused only on what they lost. They are thinking about what they learned because of you. You became connected to a realization about love, timing, honesty, and emotional courage that they may carry for a very long time. And now their message reaches the point they have been trying to avoid. Don't skip, because if they were given one final moment to speak without hiding anything, they would tell you, you mattered more than my actions ever showed. They would not ask you to erase the past or pretend everything was perfect. They would simply want you to understand that behind their silence were feelings they struggled to name. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. There is still one last revelation they have not spoken, the one thought that keeps appearing whenever they imagine seeing you again. It is not about returning to the past. It is about what they would do differently if life ever placed the two of you face to face again. And that answer could be the most unexpected part of everything they have been trying to tell you. This is the moment your soulmate has imagined more than once. Seeing you again and suddenly realizing there is nowhere left to hide from what they truly feel. Don't skip, because something huge is waiting for you. In their mind, they have rehearsed that moment differently every time, but one thing never changes: they would finally stop pretending that your connection meant less than it did. They would look at you and admit, I should have been clearer when I had the chance. And here is the surprising part: they are not imagining some perfect speech. They are imagining honesty. The kind of honesty that arrives only after someone has spent enough time questioning their own choices. They now understand that sometimes the most meaningful person is not the one who creates the loudest moment, but the one whose absence leaves the loudest silence. And somehow, you became that person in their story. But what happens next is even more unexpected. Stay till the end, because your soulmate has realized that if they ever stand before you again, they cannot return as the same person who once stayed silent. Something inside them would have to be different. Don't skip. They would want to listen instead of assuming, speak instead of hiding, and finally tell you what they once believed they could keep buried forever. You reached a part of me that I didn't know how to protect or explain. That realization surprised them because they spent so long believing distance would make everything simpler. Instead, distance revealed what closeness had hidden. They began understanding why certain memories of you still feel unusually vivid and why some moments seem to return exactly when they think they have finally stopped looking backward. Something huge is waiting for you, because there is still one question they cannot answer. If they finally told you everything, would you recognize the person they have become? And this is where the confession takes another turn. Don't skip, because your soulmate is beginning to understand that hearing them out does not mean you owe them anything. Their deepest wish is simply that you finally know the truth they failed to communicate. You were never insignificant to them. You were never just another passing memory. Something about knowing you changed the way they understand emotional connection, and they cannot pretend otherwise anymore. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. There is one final secret beneath all of this, one realization they have not been able to shake, no matter how much time passes. It concerns the exact reason they still imagine one more conversation with you, and it goes far beyond wanting closure. Deep inside, they keep wondering whether your story ended, or whether both of you simply reached the end of one chapter before understanding what the next one was meant to reveal. And now, the question your soulmate has been avoiding is becoming impossible to silence. What if that chapter ended only because both of you needed time to understand what the connection truly meant? Don't skip, because something huge is waiting for you. They are no longer looking back simply because they miss familiar moments. They are looking back because they can finally see details they were emotionally unable to recognize before. Your words carry a different meaning now. Your patience looks different now. Even the moments when you said very little seem louder in their memory. And then came the realization that surprised them most. Perhaps you were trying to show them something through your presence that they were simply not ready to receive. That thought has stayed with them, because it means the story they once believed was finished may have left behind a truth they still need to face. What happened inside them after that realization is even more powerful. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you, because your soulmate started asking themselves a question they never expected to ask. If I had understood then what I understand now, would everything have been different? Don't skip. That question keeps pulling them toward one particular memory, a moment when they could have spoken honestly but chose silence instead. They remember how close they came to saying what they truly felt. They remember holding back. And now they understand that the words they swallowed became the words they most desperately wish they could give back to you. Not because they expect you to wait forever, but because they finally realize that unspoken feelings can leave the strongest unfinished echoes. Their once-in-a-lifetime revelation is this: they did not fully understand the depth of your place in their heart until they had enough distance to see the space you had occupied. But there is still one thing they want you to hear more than anything else. Don't skip, because this changes the meaning of "please hear me out one last time." They are not asking for another conversation simply to repeat the past. They want one chance to say something completely different. If I ever meet you again, I want you to meet the version of me that finally understands. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. They know words alone cannot rewrite yesterday, and that is exactly why their next realization matters so much. If another chapter ever opened, they would want their actions to carry what their silence once failed to express. But before that could ever happen, there is one final truth they would need to confess, the truth about what they felt during the exact moment they realized you might genuinely continue your life without them. And that moment changed something inside them forever. The moment your soulmate imagined you truly moving forward without them, something inside their perspective changed completely. Don't skip, because something huge is waiting for you. Until then, a part of them may have quietly assumed there would always be another opportunity, another conversation, another moment, another chance to explain what they never said. But suddenly they understood that life does not keep every door open forever. That realization made everything feel different. They remembered your voice, your presence, and the moments when you offered them understanding without demanding perfection. Then one powerful thought appeared. What if they become someone else's once-in-a-lifetime person while I remain the one who never told them the truth? And for the first time, they could no longer hide behind silence. What surprised them next went even deeper. Stay till the end, because this is where their message begins to reveal its real meaning. They realized they were not simply afraid of losing your attention, they were affected by the possibility that you might become completely happy without ever knowing how deeply you mattered to them. Don't skip. That thought forced them to confront everything they had avoided. They started remembering the moments when you probably needed clarity but received uncertainty instead. They remembered things they almost said and feelings they almost revealed. And suddenly, the sentence, "Please hear me out one last time," became more than a wish. It became the conversation they desperately wished they had been brave enough to have sooner. Something huge is waiting for you, because there is one sentence they would want you to hear before anything else: "My silence never meant you were easy to forget." And now comes the revelation they never expected themselves to reach. Don't skip, because your soulmate has finally understood that another chance would not mean recreating the old connection exactly as it was. If life ever brought you together again, they would want something more honest, more mature, and more intentional. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. They would want to discover who you have become rather than assuming you are still the person they remember. But beneath that realization is one final question that keeps returning when everything becomes quiet. What if they felt it too, but finally stopped waiting for me to understand? That question has changed the way your soulmate sees the entire story. And what they are beginning to realize about your silence now may be the biggest surprise yet. Because for the first time, they are wondering whether losing access to your heart was not the end of the connection, but the moment that finally taught them what your heart was worth. Something your soulmate never expected has finally become clear. Your silence may have taught them more than all the words you once gave them. Don't skip, because something huge is waiting for you. When you stopped explaining, stopped trying to make everything understood, or simply became quieter, they were left alone with the questions they had avoided. And that is when your value began appearing in places they never expected. They remembered the way you cared without making everything about yourself. They remembered moments when you understood what they could not even explain. Then one thought shook their entire perspective. What if I was receiving something rare and only recognized it after it was no longer within reach? Stay till the end, because this realization leads directly to the confession they have been trying to find the courage to make. But there is an even bigger surprise hidden beneath those memories. Don't skip. Your soulmate has realized that they cannot return to you carrying the same confusion that created distance before. If another conversation ever happens, they want it to feel different. No games, no pretending, no hiding behind vague words, just the truth they should have spoken when everything was still close. Something huge is waiting for you, because the sentence they imagined saying has changed. It is no longer simply, "I miss what we had." Now it is, "I finally understand why what we had mattered." That difference is enormous. Missing someone can come from memory, but understanding someone requires growth. And your soulmate is beginning to see that the connection was not powerful because everything was perfect, it was powerful because something about you reached them deeply enough to remain meaningful even after circumstances changed. And now their message reaches its most unexpected point yet. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. Your soulmate knows that while they were discovering these truths, you may have been changing too. You may have become stronger, clearer, and less willing to accept uncertainty. Don't skip, because instead of pushing them away emotionally, that possibility has made one realization even stronger. If they ever receive another opportunity to speak with you, they cannot waste it trying to become who they were before. They would have to meet you as the person they have become now. And there is one final thing they desperately want to know before they could ever say everything. When you became quiet, was it because your feelings disappeared, or because you finally realized you deserve to be understood without constantly asking for it? The answer to that question is the one possibility your soulmate cannot stop thinking about, because it could change what they believe happened between you forever. Now your soulmate is facing the possibility that changes everything. Maybe your silence was never emptiness, it was an answer they were too late to understand. Don't skip, because something huge is waiting for you. They are beginning to wonder whether you became quiet because you had already given everything you knew how to give. Maybe you stopped explaining because you wanted to see whether they would finally notice what your words had been trying to tell them all along. And that thought has completely shifted their perspective. For the first time, they are looking at the connection through your eyes, remembering moments when you may have needed reassurance, honesty, or simply a clear sign that your presence mattered. Then came the realization they were not prepared for. Perhaps you never asked for something impossible, you only wanted something genuine. Stay till the end, because what they understand next is the truth they wish they had discovered much sooner. A completely different confession is forming inside them now. Don't skip. Your soulmate no longer wants to explain away every mistake or search for the perfect reason behind every moment of distance. They simply want to admit what they finally see: you should never have had to question whether you mattered to me. That sentence carries everything they struggle to express. Something huge is waiting for you, because they have also realized something surprising about themselves. They thought keeping feelings hidden would protect them from uncertainty, but eventually that silence created the exact uncertainty they were trying to avoid. Now they understand that some connections are not lost because the feelings were absent. Sometimes they change because those feelings were never communicated clearly enough. And if they could return to one moment, they would not choose the happiest memory. They would return to the moment when honesty could have changed everything. But stay till the end, because the biggest revelation has still not been spoken. Your soulmate has finally stopped asking only whether you would hear them out. Now they are asking themselves whether they are truly ready to say everything without expecting anything in return. Don't skip, because that is where their feelings become completely different. They want you to know the truth even if your life has moved forward. They want you to understand that knowing you changed something inside them, even if your paths never look exactly the same again. And yet, beneath all that acceptance, one extraordinary possibility remains in their mind. What if the reason this connection still feels unfinished is not because the past needs to be repeated, but because one final truth still needs to be revealed? Something huge is waiting for you, because that truth is connected to the one promise your soulmate has quietly made to themselves, and once you hear what that promise is, you will understand why they could never treat another opportunity with you the same way again. This is the promise your soulmate has quietly made to themselves: if life ever gives them one genuine opportunity to speak with you again, they will not hide behind silence. Don't skip, because something huge is waiting for you. They have realized that the greatest regret was not simply the distance between you, it was allowing important feelings to remain unspoken when honesty could have changed everything. And now, when they imagine seeing you again, they no longer rehearse excuses. They imagine saying the words exactly as they feel them. I finally understand what your presence meant to me. That realization has transformed the way they remember your connection. The smallest moments now seem important. The conversations they once overlooked now carry meaning. And the most surprising part is that they are no longer asking how they could return to the past. They are asking whether two people can meet again as completely changed versions of themselves and finally understand what they could not understand before. Stay till the end, because the answer forming inside their heart is bigger than anything they expected. Then something even more powerful became clear to them. Don't skip. Your soulmate knows that one conversation cannot magically erase everything that happened, and they no longer want it to. What they want is something far rarer, a chance to be completely truthful without hiding what they learned. If they could speak now, they would tell you, you changed the way I recognize something real. They would admit that your absence forced them to notice the difference between simply having someone around and genuinely valuing their presence. Something huge is waiting for you, because they also discovered a truth about you that they never fully appreciated. You were not asking them to become perfect. You were asking them to be present, clear, and sincere. And realizing that has made them wonder how differently everything might have unfolded if they had understood it sooner. But instead of remaining trapped inside that question, they have made themselves another promise. If they ever receive a meaningful connection like this again, they will recognize it while it is still standing in front of them. And now we reach the confession hidden beneath every other confession. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. When your soulmate says, "Please hear me out one last time," what they truly want you to hear is this: you mattered. You still matter in the story of who I became, and I wish I had shown you that when it counted. Don't skip, because there is one final surprise. Their greatest revelation is not that they want everything to return exactly as it was. It is that meeting you changed them enough to make returning to who they were impossible. Whether your paths cross again or continue separately, the connection taught them something they cannot unlearn: real feelings deserve real honesty. And if life ever places you face to face again, they know exactly what they would do differently. They would not wait for the perfect moment. They would not assume there would always be another chance. They would look at you, finally speak without hiding, and say the truth they once could not: if this is the last time you ever hear me, I need you to know that knowing you changed me more than my silence ever allowed you to see. But just when it seems their confession has reached its deepest point, another realization rises, one they never expected to face. Don't skip, because something huge is waiting for you. Your soulmate has started wondering why, after everything, certain memories of you still feel different from every other memory. And suddenly they understood: they were not only remembering what happened between you, they were remembering who they became because of it. You showed them what emotional presence could feel like, and once they recognized that, they could no longer pretend the connection had left no mark. Stay till the end, because there is something surprising here. They now realize that some of the things they once misunderstood about you were actually signs of how deeply you cared. The questions you asked, the clarity you wanted, the moments when you needed them to truly listen, they see those memories differently now. And one thought keeps returning: I wish I could tell them that I finally understand. Yet the biggest shift is not in what they remember, it is in what they would choose today. Don't skip. Your soulmate is no longer imagining another opportunity as a way to repair their pride or prove something. They imagine simply sitting across from you and listening to everything they once failed to hear. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. If you told them how their silence made you feel, they would not want to interrupt. If you told them you had changed, they would want to understand who you are now. And if you told them your heart no longer stands where they left it, they know they would have to respect that truth. That is the surprising transformation. They finally understand that caring about someone is not only about wanting them close. Sometimes it means becoming capable of hearing their truth even when that truth is difficult to accept. And this realization has brought them to one question they cannot escape. If they had listened like this before, would you ever have needed to become silent? Now stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you, and the next truth changes the meaning of everything. Your soulmate has realized that the final conversation they keep imagining may not actually be about an ending. It may be about finally giving a name to something that remained unfinished inside them. Don't skip, because they have one sentence left that they have never allowed themselves to fully say: I didn't understand how rare your presence was until I had to remember it instead of experience it. And that sentence carries a realization even bigger than regret. They now know that if your paths ever cross again, the most important question will not be whether the old feeling survived. It will be whether both of you have become capable of creating something healthier, clearer, and more genuine than before. But there is still one final mystery your soulmate cannot answer: the reason a particular memory of you keeps returning at the strangest moments. And what that memory represents to them may reveal the deepest truth of this entire connection.